But both of these teams are competing very hard, and we're going to have a great final minute here at Head.
Washington wants the 32nd timeout. Well, the Huskies have made no field goals in the last 5 minutes. And frankly, they've been exposed as a poor free throw shooting team here down the stretch.
Yeah, well, it's been their Achilles heel throughout the season. And because even against the game on Thursday against Stanford, although they were able to eke it out, you know, they didn't do a good job from the foul line coming down the stretch, and it almost cost them. So once again, it's kind of a theme that they have that carried over from last season, where they lost several games coming down the stretch by not being able to knock down free throws, and it's coming back to haunt them again today.
And how did Cal get back into this thing? Well, they were, for one thing, they didn't panic. They were steady. Robertson hits this huge three right here.
Yeah, well, Theo Robertson, one of the best three-point shooters in the country, and then on that sideline out of bounds, they run Christopher to the low block there and get 2 points there to cut it to 3.
Bears within 3 with possession. An excellent three-point shooting team. They have not hit many here this afternoon. Randall hands to Christopher. Christopher looking for an opening. Spots Randall for the tie on the fake. Got it. We're in a tie situation. 58-58 as Cal's Jerome Randall knocks down the 3. So the Bears have walked down the Huskies to tie this baby. 43 and 9/10 seconds remaining in a 30-second timeout call.
Well, Jerome Randall, we talked about his struggles earlier in the game, but he has been subbed in and out of the game several times. But here coming down the stretch, he has been absolutely lights out for Cal. We got a layup to go with about 7-8 minutes to go, and we said maybe that would get him going, and it absolutely has. He's been on the offensive end a lot more aggressive, a lot more confident, and for him to knock down that 3, that's the first three-pointer he's got to drop after going 0 for 5 against Washington State and struggling from behind the three-point line here again today. But he stayed confident, and now 43.9 to go. We've got a tie basketball game.
And Randall scored 9 of their last 12 points. Very composed youngster from Chicago, Illinois. The junior just stayed in this game, hung in, stayed with the game plan. 5 of 13. He has 13 points. Christopher with 22, and Roberts with 10 for the Cal Bears. The Huskies led by Thomas with 20. And Brockman with 12. So let's see what the Husky offense looks like this trip down the floor. They have tried to force things the last couple of trips down. Dentman will bring it up. Now there's a differential of 8 between game and shot clock. Huskies want to get it into front court where they call a timeout. 8.2 seconds, the differential exactly between shot and game clock.
Well, free throw shooting, as we mentioned, has hurt the Huskies, but now with this tie game, both of these coaches, you know, they're over there strategizing of how they want this game to end up. I would think for Romar and the Huskies, he's probably going to try to run something and let Thomas make a decision. Thomas and Brockman have really been the offensive forces for them in this basketball game. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Montgomery comes out of the timeout and maybe gives the Huskies a different look defensively. They've pretty much been man-to-man, but, you know, they may come out and give them a little different look to make the Huskies make another adjustment.
8-0 run by the Cal Bears in the last 2 minutes and 5 seconds. We saw a nail-biter here on Thursday against the Stanford Cardinal. Matthew Bryant Ammoning went airborne. The ball off the back glass. Brockman collects it for 19 points, 18 rebounds on the night. And Stanford still had 4 and 2/10 seconds on an inbound. And turned it over on a full-court pass. It was actually thrown over the top of the Husky defense.
And it was a great pass. I mean, it was on the money.
It was on the money.
Had he not fumbled it out of bounds, you never know what would have happened.
They may have had a chance at a shot there.
Yeah.
So 58 all here now. And the Huskies will have it in front court near their own bench in a tie situation, 38 and 2/10. A difference of 8 and 2/10 between shot and game clock. All right, what do you run here, Coach?
Well, against Stanford, they ran the clear out for Quincy Pondexter. But as I said earlier, I really think that they would put the ball in Isaiah Thomas's hands and either have him make a decision on a high screen and roll, or maybe try to get something for Brockman on the post up. But then you have the problem that if he gets fouled, he has not been confident from the foul line.
Huskies have only scored 2 points in the last 5.5 minutes. Yeah, the referees apparently are over there looking at the clock. and the time remaining in this game. Randall with the three. And so they want to determine if they should add a second or two more up there. They won't. Actually, they did. They put 0.7 of a second up there.
And the one thing Cal has to guard against, depending on what happens with the whatever the Huskies run, is keeping the Huskies off the offensive glass.
Pondexter, high runner off glass, didn't have a chance, may have been deflected. Randall comes up with it. And now Randall will work it down the floor. They will have the last look if they wish. Tie ball game at 58. Robertson along the sideline with Randall. They spread the floor. Gutierrez, Christopher, and Camp. Randall works it to 13, and then Mike Montgomery calls a timeout with 12 and 1/10 seconds remaining.
Well, the Huskies tried to run the same thing for Pondexter that they ran against Stanford, but he just rushed it. He had a look, but just got in too much of a hurry and didn't take his time to settle in and try to get the shot. You admire the fact that they want to try to get him going. Maybe he wasn't the likely candidate to take the last shot, but he just got in too much of a hurry and did not take what could have been a good look at the basket.
Cal has not had a lead, Francis, since 1-0. Stay tuned. Coming up next, Gonzaga and Portland, Washington State and Stanford. Plenty of great hoops coming your way from the Great Northwest. Well, what has happened to the Huskies here in the last 5 minutes? Offensively, they just seem to unravel a little bit. Too much one-man play and then trying to force it into Brockman constantly, plus missing the free throw.
Yeah, well, I think missing the free throws has kind of played with their psyche, to be honest, because they've kind of reverted back to some problems that they've had before. But you know, again, we talked about Cal just being able to get some stops, and they finally did. They finally got some stops, and then they were finally able to get a stop and corral the rebound, because their offensive execution, since it was 56-48, you know, they've gone 12-2 and done a nice job on the offensive end, but it was about getting stops, getting some rebounds. So they've done that, and now they give themselves a chance to win this game in the final 12 seconds.
Man, a woeful 60% for Washington, 14 of 23 from the line. All right, now it's up to Washington to stop Cal, to get them into a situation where they've got a man who is in an area unaccustomed to scoring. That may be Camp. You cannot allow Christopher to get open for a look. He's been lights out, and Randall, of course, has scored 9 of their last 12. Robertson will bring the ball in bounds from in front of their own bench out near the hash mark. 12 and 1/10 seconds remaining. Randall can go into backcourt to receive it. Thomas will pick him up. Randall handling with 6. Gets a screen from Camp. Off it comes to Robertson, fakes and drives with 1 second. The ball off the mark, tipped into the corner, and we will go to overtime in Seattle. Score tied 58-58. First overtime game for either team here this year. And man, did Robertson have a good look. Francis and I will return with the overtime.